Hello friends, welcome back to Rising World. You are in my new flat world. I created this world specifically for building blueprints and for doing tutorials. And today I'm going to do a quick tutorial on building the basics, the basic building. This is going to be differentiating a block style Minecraft type building with some of the other more advanced methods, and I am just going to cover just a few basics today, and then we'll move on and try to cover all of the different methods and all of the different tools. And to start with, if you're brand new to Rising World, and this is not a how to play the game sort of tutorial, this is going to be only building. If you do want to have a guide on how to get started, I suggest going to the Rising World forum. It is risingworldforum.net, and there are some guides there. One in particular is by Alpha Godith, I believe I'm saying that right, and she has a very good getting started guide to read with screenshots and such, and I highly recommend that, and I will put a link down in the description to that guide. So I have the game in creative so that I don't really need these workbenches. I just created them to have them. I don't know what I was thinking, but so first off, we're going to talk about building in the game. And to get to the building tools, of course, if you're playing survival, and you probably should when you're first starting, you will go to a workbench and click F, and that gets you your crafting menu where you go through all of the materials. These are the resources you'll need to build certain things when you're first starting. Then there's all the workbenches that you will need and your building materials. But let's start with the building materials. So we have many different textures for wood, many different textures for stone, bricks, marble, concrete, asphalt, plaster, loam or dirt, tiles, metal, luminous, which means this is like glass, but it lights up. So you can create light fixtures or signage or whatever, and you can color it. So you can make it any color you would like, and that would be a red light. We have many types of clear glass, clear frosted milk glass, leaded glass, which has like leaded panes. We have a stained glass material, different textures of frosted glass, etc. We have some roofing here. We have fabric, which has texture. And something called grid ceiling, which I guess is like those ceiling panels, sound dampening ceiling panels, and a cardboard texture. I haven't used either of those. But we're going to just start with this demonstration with something basic. So let's try something that looks like concrete blocks. And you'll notice here we have many different shapes. And I know that Minecraft comes with different shapes as well. I don't know that they have rounded shapes. But we have cylinders, half cylinders, slopes, a corner slope, a half corner slope. I'm not sure that I've ever used that one. We have arcs, inner, outer, many different kinds. We have stair pieces, cylinders, half cylinders, a sphere, a rounded block, a corner. This is like for making pipes. So yeah, lots of different stuff. But let's just start with a block. Okay. So how you would place blocks in Minecraft would be that you would just select a spot and place it. And this is much the same. It looks like I have my texture size set smaller. Let me check that. I'm going to go into the radial menu and texture scale. I do have it set smaller. So let's just go to the default size. And we'll go through that radial menu in another, well, we might get to it in this video. Now, the thing about Rising World is that while everything is on a grid, right now you can't see the grid, but you'll notice that no matter which way I face, the block stays in the same orientation. So it's adhering to a grid, you just can't see it. If I push the G key, you can now see the grid, and the block will sink down into the dirt. And that is true for your first block that you're putting on the ground in almost every grid size. And we can change the size of the grid, and I'll show you that in a moment. So we can place one block at a time, just like in Minecraft. And I'm going to turn off the little buttons there just to show you that later. And the blocks will stick to each other and be in line. So far that looks very familiar if you are a Minecraft player. I have not played Minecraft, but I've watched it. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can left click and drag out a line of blocks, and then right click to place them. So you can do that. And you can also drag out multiple well, let's do it this way. You can drag out in multiple directions, but it looks like I need the blocks on the ground first. So I can drag out a whole wall of blocks, which is quite a bit faster. I'm just going to show you that you can also drag out I'm just going to make something to adhere this to make it a little easier. You can also drag out in 3 directions at once, if it will let me. There we go. I'm not showing that very well, I think. Let me turn off the grid and see if I can do it without the grid. No, I can't. Wait a minute. 2x4. Okay, so they're going into the ground, so you can't really see them, but you can drag out in multiple directions. And I'm not able to demonstrate it for some reason. Which I'm not understanding why at the moment. Okay, that has me confused. Let me turn the grid back on. I should be able to draw out blocks in multiple directions. 4x3. Let's see what I did here. No. Well, You can, however, I'm just not able to make it happen. I wonder if I have it set. Let me check my settings. I'm hitting escape, settings, and then there are lots of settings to this game to make it even more row placement. I've got it set on 2. Let's try 3. I don't know that you would use this that often, but it's nice to know that you can. Let me see if I can do it now. Yes. Okay. So if I wanted to build, say, a giant cube, I can do that. Yeah, so I have a giant cube now. Let's put a block down. Yeah, that's a solid cube. So you could do that. So far, not too different from Minecraft, other than the fact that you can place many blocks at one time. And for all I know, that maybe you could do that in Minecraft. I just wasn't aware that you could. So there is some other differences, though. One is that you can rotate any piece by hitting the arrow keys. So we're going to rotate this. That's about 45 degrees, I believe. And if you notice over on the left-hand side, it says the size and rotation. So we have 315 degrees as rotated, so 45 basically. And we can go up on a 45-degree angle. We can also rotate in any other angle that we want. Notice it is trying to adhere to the grid. And I can change that by turning the grid off. So now I can rotate it, say, another couple of degrees and place it without having to have it snap to the grid. And I'm just eyeballing it here, so this is freeform. So we can have blocks really basically in any angle that we want, including, for example, this sort of thing. So, you can get pretty crazy. Just a jumble of blocks. And then if I hit backspace, it goes back to its original position. But there's more. You can, they have something in this game called snapping. And what that will do, if I turn that on, if I go to my C key, which opens this radial, you can see it's got an A here under pivot mode, and that's the automatic snapping. Then if I hit the grid, which is G, and hit enter, that enables snapping. And what will happen now is if I put this block up against another block, it's going to snap to the grid and to the block. Well, in this case, not the grid, but to the block. So you'll see these little blue and green dots, and that's telling me where it's snapping to. So it's snapping to each block depending on how the block is positioned, and it will snap to that block in the same position, just like so. So we could place, you know, a very primitive stairway that way. I'm not quite done. All right, so those are the basics of placing blocks, and you can see that it's similar to Minecraft but different. There are other things that make it different, and the snapping and rotation is one of the more difficult things for people to wrap their head around because it can get very weird very quickly. And I'm going to be probably talking about snapping and rotation and all of that frequently in this series because it occurs in many different ways depending on what size you're using and how it's rotated and how you're snapping it, whether you're snapping automatically or manual snapping, or whether you're using the grid or not using the grid. And all of these things can affect the way it behaves. So I think what we will do in the course of this tutorial is to build a little house or something so I can demonstrate all of the methods and all of the different ways you can achieve different things. I'm going to leave you with one more thing, and that is that every object, building element, can be sized. And you can do that with using Shift and the arrow keys. So I'm going to make it wider, or in this case deeper. And whoops, I'm going to pretend that I'm in survival. In survival, you are limited to 5 units. So that's 5 units. It's actually a full block, I believe. Yeah, it's a full block high and 5 units wide and deep. So we've got ourselves a really big block. This is useful for doing walls and floors very quickly. So maybe this will be the basis of our little house. So there you go. That is really the very, very basics. In the next video, we're going to talk about the different methods of building. We'll build a wall with just blocks. We'll build a wall using traditional stick and sheeting, like you might in the real world. And we'll build one that looks like a traditional wall, but is a little bit faster. And so then we will talk about doors and windows and trim and how to do all of that and make it look realistic. And we'll also talk about the kinds of things in this construction, what do I call it? The methods, the processes in this particular game that can make it very, very frustrating, and how to get around the frustration, how it works, and why it does what it does. So that's all for this time. See you next time. Bye-bye.